Hello everyone, welcome to Easy Economics. How are you all doing? I hope you all are doing good. Today I brought for you all May June 2025 9708 variant 14. We'll be solving paper 1 today. Let's see what this paper has brought for us today. Moving forward, MCQ number 1. MCQ number 1 talks about what is a common criticism of economics? They are asking what is one of the drawbacks of economics. A says it fails to establish theories of economic behavior. B says it is unable to construct models of how an economy might work. C says it lacks the ability to use and apply mathematics. And D says it's very difficult to undertake lab experiments in economics. If you look at option A, B, and C, these are all done under economics. Yes, there are lots of theories of economic behavior because that's what economics is all about when we study human behavior, right? There are models of supply, demand, circular flow of income, and there are a lot of mathematical calculations done as well. So we can chop A, B, and C. It's D where we do not perform any lab experiments because economics isn't concerned about performing controlled lab experiments. We study human behavior, and whenever we even studying models or theories, so we're keeping things and other options as ceteris paribus. So it's D for MCQ number 1. So we'll shade in D as the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 2 is incorrect, it's discounted. So we'll move forward to MCQ number 3. MCQ number 3 talks about under which conditions are the market forces most likely to allocate resources efficiently in an economy. Now, we know when we are talking about a market economy wouldn't go for producing goods and services unless and until it provides profit to the producer. So the producer is driven by his own private benefit or profit driven. So when we are talking about public goods or merit goods, these are not provided by market economy. So if the goods are to be allocated efficiently, we have to select none under the category of public goods and merit goods in this table. For demerit goods also, if you want to avoid negative externalities, we'll select none. So we'll shade in D as the correct answer for MCQ number 3. Moving forward, MCQ number 4. MCQ number 4 says, what does a PPC shows? We all know PPC shows the maximum possible output combinations that an economy can produce with a given set of existing resources, right? That's what the PPC shows. The maximum possible combination. That is all the points on the PPC that's being displayed, right? The capital goods can come on the vertical axis, the consumer goods can come on the horizontal axis, and these are all the possible combinations produced within the existing resources. That means all the points on the PPC frontier. So for 4, we'll shade in B as the correct answer. Moving forward, MCQ number 5. MCQ number 5 says a city built a new stadium to host the world athletic competitions. So they constructed a new stadium. And what did the authorities do? They ensured clean air. So they closed the nearby factories and they even made the employees redundant. Now they're saying which part of this is an example of non-rival consumption. So now what does non-rival consumption means? That when something is being consumed by somebody, it does not reduces the chances of that thing to be consumed by others, right? It does not affect the consumption for others. So A is incorrect because it's unrelated to the question. As far as option C is concerned, it talks about the stadium could be used after the championships. So this means it talks about non-excludability. It's not C. D talks about rivalry because it says the unemployed factory workers were entitled to free tickets to the stadium. So we're talking about rivalry over here. It's B, that's the correct answer, but the private costs and it's A, that's the correct answer. B is incorrect because it says the private costs and external costs were borne by the city authorities. because B is unrelated to the question. C talks about non-excludability. D talks about rivalry. And it's A where the improved air quality benefited those even who did not pay for it. So you see, everybody, whether they contributed towards it, because who did this? The authority. But even the local people or the people who lived nearby or who came and attended the athletic championships, they also benefited from it. So for 5, we'll shade in A as the correct answer because the consumption of the clean air by 1% did not reduce the availability for others. Number 6, along which axis can the market demand curve be aggregated from individual demand curve? We all know that once we sum up the individual demand curves horizontally, where quantity demanded is on the horizontal axis and the vertical axis displays price. So the individual demand curve summation is turns up to be the market demand curve. So it's the horizontal axis. So for 6, we'll shade in B as the correct answer. Number 7. Number 7 displays the demand curve. It says in the diagram, D1 is the initial demand curve. Now, the vertical axis displays the fees, the horizontal axis displays student prices. Now, they're saying what would cause the demand curve to shift to D2? That means the demand curve for students being placed in universities. Why do you think more and more students would want to be a part of the university? Now, let's read the options. Option A says a decrease in student fees for universities. This would cause a movement along and not a shift. So we'll chop A. B says a decrease in the level of youth unemployment. So if the youth unemployment falls, it would increase the supply. So B is incorrect. D says higher A level grades demanded for university entrance. So it would cause the demand curve to fall. It would cause the demand curve to shift inside and not outwards. So we'll chop D. So by elimination, we are left with C. But then why by logic also it should be C? An increase in graduate earnings compared with non-graduate earning. That means that now students know that once they are going to be graduated, as university graduate, they are going to be earning high. Their chances of earning high. That is why the demand for them being a part of the university would increase. So for 7, we'll shade in C as the correct answer. I hope you've understood. Moving forward, MCQ number 8. MCQ number 8 says a survey into the market for good X found that it's an inferior good. Plus, it's found that it's a close substitute for good Y. Now, which values for income elasticity and cross elasticity with respect to the price of good Y would support this? Now, income elasticity of demand for good X and cross elasticity of demand for good X with respect to the product Y. Now, we know that if X was an inferior good, this means if income rose, quantity demanded fell. That means that the income elasticity of demand has to be negative. So we can chop the positive figure there and then. We can chop the positive figure there and then. So it cannot be C and it cannot be D because both talks about a positive scenario for income elasticity of demand. What about cross elasticity of demand? If it's a close substitute, this means that the price of one, if it increased, the quantity of demanded of the other must have risen. So that means there has to be a positive relationship. So this means we are left with option B, where cross elasticity of demand displays a positive scenario and income elasticity of demand displays a negative scenario. So for 8, we'll shade in B as the correct answer. Moving forward, MCQ number 9. MCQ number 9 says, what is the likely nature of price elasticity of supply of a crop such as rice? Now, we know rice is what? It's an agriculture product. And we know the supply of agriculture product is highly inelastic in the short run. In the long run, yes, it can increase once the productive potential increases, once there's a time period to sow the seeds and for the crop to grow. So looking at the options, the most appropriate is D, where it's highly inelastic in the short run. It's perfectly inelastic, right? No matter whatever you do in the short run, the supply of rice cannot increase because there are certain months It grows at certain time period it requires for the crop to sow, right? To grow and more elastic in the long run as it takes time to plant the rice. So for 9, we'll shade in D as the correct answer. Moving forward, MCQ number 10. MCQ number 10 talks about the price of laptop computer falls. Now, they're saying the price of laptop is falling. The price of which product is likely to rise as a result? Now, if the price of laptop falls, let's look at the options. It talks about A talks about desktop computers, C talks about monitors, D talks about workstation tables. Now, all A, C, D are incorrect. It's B that's correct, where the price of carrying cases for laptop computers would increase. Why? Because oh, the laptop covers are complements to the laptop. So if the price of laptop decreases, the demand for laptops would increase and more consumers would want to buy a cover for their laptops. So we'll shade in B as the correct answer. For number 10, it's B. Why it can't be A? Because A is a substitute. It cannot be C because again it's talking about monitors and it's unrelated. It cannot be D because again it's talking about desktop computers, workstation tables. It's again unrelated. So we are left with B. Moving forward, MCQ number 11. MCQ number 11 says assuming a normal demand and a supply for a product, what will definitely increase consumer surplus? So now for that, what we can do is we can draw a demand and a supply diagram. And we'll try to find out the consumer surplus. Now we know that once we are talking about consumer surplus is all the region which is above the market equilibrium and the maximum price the consumer is willing to pay, right? So it's all this region. So we want this triangular region to expand. So the only way in which it is definitely going to increase is you can draw a supply curve, shift towards the right, and you'll see what happens. The market price is going to fall. So now when the market equilibrium falls, you are left with a larger region as consumer surplus. So this is the addition that would be a plus, a benefit to the consumers. Why? Now because they are going to be benefiting. So for 11, it has to be option D, where an increase in the supply curve to the right will cause the equilibrium price to fall and the region to increase, so the consumers would be better off. So we'll shade in D as the correct answer. Moving forward, MCQ number 12. MCQ number 12 says a government in a market economy decides to subsidize the provision of the internet in remote parts of the country. So now what does government do in order for the benefit of the public and to increase the consumption and the usage of the internet in those areas where the internet was unavailable, it decides to subsidize it so that it's accessible to more and more people. Now, why would you think that the government did it? A says to decrease provision of a demerit good. It's not a demerit good, so you can chop A. To increase the provision of a merit good. Yes, that's the correct answer because internet is a merit good. It's advantageous. C says to provide a public good. Again, we know it's a merit good, it's not a public good. D says to reduce negative externalities. It's incorrect. So C is incorrect, D is incorrect, A is incorrect because we all know internet usage is a merit good. So in order to increase its availability, this government subsidizes. So for 12, we'll shade in B as the correct answer. Moving forward, MCQ number 13. MCQ number 13 says, who is intended to benefit from an agricultural buffer stock scheme during periods of plentiful harvest? So now we know if there was an excess supply of crops and we want to smoothen in prices. So who are going to be benefiting more? The farmers. Why? Because the price would then not fall. So it's the growers of the food that would benefit so that they are saved from losses. So the government would buy and the prices are smooth. So for 13, we'll shade in B. Moving forward, MCQ number 14. MCQ number 14 says the government decides to increase indirect taxes. So indirect taxes are increased. subsidies are finished, and the income level at which the tax become payable is lower. So that means even people who are earning lesser incomes or lower level of incomes, they are asked to pay tax. So income tax on low level of incomes is also charged. Now what's happening? What would be the most likely consequence of this change? Now they are saying if all these are being implemented, what's going to happen? A says a decrease in cost push inflation. Now, cost push inflation is likely to increase and not decrease because we are imposing income tax. So it's going to make things expensive, right? B says an increase in income inequality. Yes, that's the correct answer because who is punished? The lower level income groups. The poor is punished because A, you're imposing more taxes on goods, indirect taxes increase. Plus, you're also increasing income taxes on the lower level of income group. So the disparity or the gap between the rich and the poor is widening. So income inequality is worsening. So B is correct. C is incorrect because it talks about an increase in the BOP deficit. B is again incorrect because it talks about an increase in the budget deficit. The budget deficit is going to reduce. Similarly, C is also incorrect because C says an increase in the BOP deficit. The BOP deficit is also going to reduce. The deficit, BOP deficit will also reduce because imports are going to be falling. D is also incorrect because the budget deficit is going to reduce and not increase because government is going to be earning more by way of imposition of taxes and subsidies are abolished. So it would have more revenues and less expenditure being done, right? Its earnings would increase. So it's not C, it's not D, it's not A, it's B. For 14 will shade in B. I hope you've understood. 15 is pretty straightforward. They've displayed the formula for real GDP, real gross domestic product. We all know real GDP is equal to the nominal GDP into the price index in base year divided by the price index in current year, where we are talking about the total output measured in constant prices. For 15, we'll shade in B as the correct answer. Moving forward, MCQ number 16. Now, MCQ number 16 says what is always regarded as a cause rather than a consequence of a change in the circular flow of income. So, if you're talking about a circular flow of income, they are asking that what would be the reason for the change in the circular flow of income rather than what had happened because of these changes. So, what is always regarded as a cause? So now the easiest way to determine whether it's a cause or a consequence is to ask yourself that whether this change is because of a change in national income, a decrease in government tax revenue. So if incomes are going to rise, would there be a change in the tax revenue? Yes. If incomes are going to be rise, the tax revenue is going to increase. So it cannot be A. B says an increase in consumer spending. Again, yes. If consumer income increases, its spending would increase, so it cannot be B. C says increase in savings. Again, if incomes are going to be increasing, so there is going to be more disposable income. People are going to be saving more than more proportion of income left for savings after spending, right? So it cannot be A, B, and C. It's D, where we are talking about an increase in the value of exports because it's something related to outside the economy. It cannot be exports because it depends on foreign demand. So for 16, we'll shade in D as the correct answer. Moving forward, MCQ number 17. Now, MCQ number 17 displays some data for an economy. Now, what they've done is they've displayed various parts of the circular flow of income. The first three columns, investment, exports, and government expenditure, are what? Are injections. So these are injections in the circular flow of income, and savings, investment, and taxation. These are withdrawals. So now what they are asking is, they are asking what is the equilibrium level of national income. So we are going to determine a situation where the injections are equal to the withdrawal, and whichever national income the injections are equal to the withdrawals, that would be the correct answer. So if you look at the first three columns, the total injections is turning out to be 350. So what you can do is, for the remaining three columns, savings, imports, and taxation, you add these three figures. And whichever turns out, the summation turns out to be 350, that is going to be your answer. Why? Because it's going to equate to injections. So that turns out to be, when the income level is 800, we add 175 plus 87.5, imports plus 87.5, taxation. We add all these three figures. It turned out to be 300. So it's at 800 million, which is option C over here, where the national income is at the equilibrium level. So for 17, we'll shade in C as the correct answer. Moving forward, MCQ number 18. MCQ number 18 displays the aggregate demand curve. The vertical axis displays the price level. The horizontal displays the output. Now they are saying what explains the downward movement from L to M along the demand curve. So now initially we were at L. Now what happened? The price level fell, and as a result, the output level rose. Now they are asking what explains why this happened. Let's read the options. A says an increase in tariffs leading to decreased imports. It cannot be A because it would cause a shift and not a movement along. C and D will again cause the aggregate demand to shift because it talks about an increase in consumer confidence, pumping higher spending on local goods. D says a slowdown in economic activity resulting in decreased investment spending. So again, it would cause a shift of the aggregate demand curve, right? C would increase the aggregate demand curve to the right. D would decrease the aggregate demand curves inside. So it's not C, it's not D, it's B. When taxes fall, so the cost of production would fall, aggregate supply would increase, the price level of goods would fall, and quantity demanded would increase. So hence for 16, for 18, we'll shade in B as the correct answer. So for MCQ number 18, B is the correct answer. Moving forward, MCQ number 19. MCQ number 19 says long run aggregate supply curve in an economy can be represented diagrammatically in different ways. For which AS curve would a long term fall in aggregate demand would always be likely to result in the level of employment remain unchanged. So this means that no matter whatever happens to the aggregate demand curve, the aggregate supply curve would remain constant. Nothing would cause it to change. So the only scenario is in option D, where it's perfectly inelastic, where PES is 0. So for 19, we'll shade in D as the correct answer. Moving forward, MCQ number 20. MCQ number 20 says if a country is suffering from deflation, what would be the best policy to reflate the economy? Now, deflation is a situation where the average price level is falling. So if you want to reflate it, this means you want to boost aggregate demand. You want to increase economic activity, right? You want to increase economic activity. So A says increase corporation tax. So if you increase corporation tax, aggregate demand would fall. So it cannot be A. B says increase income tax. Again, if you increase if you increase income tax, again aggregate demand would fall. But here you want to stimulate aggregate demand. So it cannot be B. D says reduce spending. If again you're going to reduce spending, aggregate demand would fall. You want to boost aggregate demand, so it cannot be D. It's C where you're going to reduce the interest rate so that increase expenditure on consumption and investment increases. As a result, aggregate demand would increase. Producers would be able to expand their production activities, thereby producing more goods boosting economic activity, increasing the productive potential. So for 20, we'll shade in C as the correct answer. I hope you've understood. MCQ number 21. MCQ number 21 says, what would be a positive effect on the growth of an economy in the short run if the government reduced a direct tax on individual earnings? So now, if direct tax falls, this means there would be a fall in income tax and corporation tax. So income tax would fall and corporation tax would fall. Now, let's read the options. Food prices would increase because of shortages. Food prices would fall and not increase, so it cannot be A. B, C, and D. B says B is incorrect. C is also incorrect. Why? Because B says imports of luxury cars would increase to satisfy a change in demand. C says savings would increase because of additional disposable income. D says the consumption of domestically produced goods would increase. D is correct because spending on goods domestically produced would be increasing, right? Because here we are talking about growth in the short term, right? So it has to be D. So for 21, we'll shade in D as the correct answer. Moving forward, MCQ number 22. MCQ number 22 says what is not a monetary policy measure. We know when we're talking about monetary policy, we are talking about money supply and we are talking about interest rate. So other than money supply and interest rate, whatever the option is, that would be the answer because they're saying what is not a monetary policy. A says credit regulations for banks. This is money supply, so it cannot be A. B says interest rate changes. Again, it's talking about interest rates, so it cannot be B. C says increase government subsidies. Yes, that's the correct answer because this is talking about government expenditure. This is talking about fiscal policy. D says money supply changes. Again, if that's monetary policy, so it cannot be A, B, and D. It's C where we're talking about fiscal policy. So 22, it's C. Moving forward, MCQ number 23. MCQ number 23 says the government has a macroeconomic aim of low unemployment. So now the government wants to reduce the unemployment level, increase the employment level, and what did it do? It increased the interest rates. Now they're saying, why do you think increasing interest rate might not be able to help it achieve the aim of low unemployment? Why do you think it might not be successful? It might not be successful if there is a lack of productive capacity. That means no matter whatever happens, if there exists no capacity, so the firms will not be able to expand when they're already at full capacity. It cannot be B, C, and D because they will all cause employment to increase except A. So for 23, we'll shade in A as the correct answer. Moving forward, MCQ number 24. MCQ number 24 talks about two countries, P and Q, and they're talking about two products, Y and Z. Now they've displayed the output levels. Now, if you look at one shot, you will notice that country Q is producing more of both type of goods, Y and Z. So this means Q has an absolute advantage in the production of both Y and Z. So if you look at the options, you can straight away chop A and B where we are talking about P being having an absolute advantage. Now you're going to be left determining the comparative advantage. So in order to determine the comparative advantage, you have to calculate opportunity cost. So you have to calculate opportunity cost for both products and for both countries. And whichever country, for whichever product gives you a lower opportunity cost, that means that country has a comparative advantage in the production of that particular product, right? So, what we can do is we can write P over here, we can write Q over here, and for product Y, product Z, P has the opportunity cost of 16 over 10, and Q has an opportunity cost of 20 over 15. So 20 over 15 turns out to be 1.3, and 16 over 10 turns out to be 1.6. For Z, P has an opportunity cost of 10 upon 16, which turns out to be 0.625. And Q has an opportunity cost of 15 upon 20, which turns out to be 0.75. So if you see, Q has the comparative advantage in the production of Y because it's having a lower opportunity cost of 1.3. And P has a comparative advantage in the production of Z where it's having 0.625. So now you're left with option C and D. So look for comparative advantage. P has a comparative advantage of 0.625 in Z. This means option D. So for 24, we'll shade in D as the correct answer. I hope you've understood. Moving forward, MCQ number 25. 25 says a trading country can produce two goods X and Y. It specializes completely in the production of good Y. So if it's completely specializing in the production of good Y, this means that it's consuming more of X, means it's less is remaining for the consumption of Y locally, more exports of Y, so then less remaining for domestic consumption. So for 25, we'll shade in C as the correct answer. Moving forward, MCQ number 26. MCQ number 26 says, what are terms of trade? Very simple, pretty forward. The definition says the ratio of average export prices to average import prices. 26 will shade in D. Moving forward, MCQ number 27. Now, MCQ number 27 says an Australian family purchases a holiday to New Zealand and an Australian mining company sells coal to China. Now, they have asked four students A, B, and C and D to determine for both of these transactions, how would they appear in the BOP of Australia? So now for Australia, you are going to decide if the Australian family purchases a holiday to New Zealand. What is it? It is an import of a service. So holiday to New Zealand is a service import. So you can chop A and B because it talks about export. What about coal to China? If Australia is selling coal, that's a good export. So you are left with option C. So for 27, we'll shade in C. 28. A government believes its current account deficit will be beneficial in the long run. So the only way a deficit could be beneficial is if in the current scenario it is being caused by a situation where the imports of the goods comprises of capital goods. Why? Because in the long run, it will be able to increase its productive potential, right? These capital goods are going to be contributing more towards the production of consumer goods and even more for the capital goods, increasing the output of the economy in the future. For the 28, we'll shade in B as the correct answer. 29 says a country has a free floating exchange rate under which circumstances it is most likely to appreciate. Appreciation means your currency rises in value with respect to other currencies. A says a competitor trading company experiencing a fall in its currency, it's unrelated. B is correct because it talks about increasing administrative burdens being placed on companies. So if administrative burdens are being placed on companies, local companies, so what it's going to do is the demand for the foreign currency would fall, the demand for the domestic currency would rise, causing appreciation. So B is correct. It cannot be C, it cannot be D because both of these will cause the currency to depreciate. If the demand is going to fall for exports, the currency is going to depreciate. If the rate of interest fall, so the hot money is going to fall. inflows, hot money inflows will not occur. Outflows would occur. So the demand for the currency would fall. So it cannot be C, it cannot be D, it has to be B. Last MCQ for today. A country has a current account deficit. What would be classified as a protectionist measure to restore the current account to equilibrium? So now, if the country wants to restore its current account scenario and bring it to an equilibrium position, that means it's neither a deficit nor a surplus. In, at the moment, it is in a deficit situation. That means imports are more than exports. Let's see the options. Allowing the exchange rate to appreciate, it's going to worsen the scenario because it's going to make exports even more expensive and imports cheap. So it cannot be A. B talks about increase in income tax. That's talking about fiscal policy. D is talking about increasing the rate of interest rate. That's talking about monetary policy. So it cannot be D. B talked about fiscal policy. It cannot be B. It's C, where increasing import tariffs. It's pretty straightforward because it directly restricts imports, where you're imposing taxes, and it's going to reduce imports and bring the situation to equilibrium. So for 30, we'll shade in C as the correct answer. I hope you understood and enjoyed solving this paper with me. Stay tuned, subscribe, happy learning.